Breeding your own feeder rats and mice can save you guys thousands of dollars per year. Give your reptiles healthier and fresher meals and put you in full control in the quality of your feeders. And in this video, we're going to be going over all the aspects of what you're going to need for your own rodent breeding operation using a rack system. And we'll cover care, housing, feeding, breeding strategies, cleaning routines, and how to keep everything humanely efficient. And by the end of this video, you're going to be well versed in what you need to do to start your own breeding colony. So if you have a reptile collection or just a couple of ball pythons, whatever you may have, something that eats rodents, buying feeders can add up pretty quickly. And in certain places and locations, like where I'm at, there's not really a reptile store to go to buy feeder rodents, so you'd have to go to Petco or PetSmart, and they generally charge around $6 to $7 for mice and around $15 to $16, $17 for rats. Considering some snakes may have to eat monthly, some snakes may eat every 2 weeks, and some may even eat weekly, I mean, it's obvious. That can run up a tab quick. But breeding your own rodents gives you a consistent supply, the ability to gut load and control nutrition, cleaner, better smelling stock, a huge saving cost over time, and a rack system lets you scale up or down depending on the reptiles that you're feeding while keeping everything organized, clean, and easy to manage. So let's break down the hardware. A rodent breeding rack usually consists of stacked tubs made of plastic, each with ventilation holes or wire mesh top. And the idea is to maximize your vertical space, keep your animals secure, and simplify feedings and cleanings. So in this particular setup, as you can see that I'm using concrete mixing tubs. This is a pretty common fix when you look up some DIY rodent breeding rack setups. They use these because they're the perfect size to hold these critters in. And here you can see the wire mesh that goes across the top. So there's a couple things to note here is we have our little section here that's sectioned off. We have our food. So the animals actually chew through the little holes, and it gives them a little bit of, how can I say, enrichment, so that way they can, use their mind a little bit more, try to get the food and work for it. So that plays a huge factor in all of this, and keeping it separate from going across the whole thing is super, super helpful if you guys did not know, because you could just throw it on top of there like I was doing before, but nah, you're not doing that. This one is made a little bit differently, but still essentially the same concept. The food is separated over here, and we got a small square here, which this one could use a little bit more support in the middle, but hey, that's just how I got it. I didn't pay for these. These were given to me, and I can't be more grateful. Now, the next thing that I want to mention about breeding rodents and mice is making things easier for yourself. And as you can tell up here, there are two 5-gallon buckets, O'Reilly's and Lowe's obviously, but down underneath you can see there's a tube running down, there's a filter here, and that leads down to a T-fitting that goes over here to our water nozzle. That attaches directly to the grate, and the mice and rats can drink out of that. There you go, just by nudging it around a little bit. So this is what they call a gravity-fed watering system. I picked this up from Reptile Basics, and it didn't really cost a whole lot. I think I maybe spent 40, 50 bucks for the whole setup. I bought the line separate and the filters and things, but all the nozzles and clips and everything I bought from them, along with the mounting tabs. So overall, this makes things a whole lot easier, so you're not filling up water bottles constantly. And I mean, this is a must if you're going to have a breeding rack system. So moving on to how we keep some of our little critters. So let's open up one of the mice trays here. So this one looks a little bit different because this one can contain baby mice and pinkies, hoppers, and all the different other forms that they have. Because they're so small, they can get through some of these bigger holes right here. So these are like 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch holes, and these are down to 1/4 inch holes here for the grating. This is just hardware cloth. You can pick this up anywhere, Lowe's and stuff. I have a list of all the things that you'll need down in the description, but let's get in here and I can kind of show you what we got going on. So you do need a hide, which Obviously, you can get a Chinese takeout container or whoever has plastic takeout containers. I reuse a lot of stuff, and that's what you can see this one is here. And they like to use it. You see they're all hid up under here, and I cut a couple holes in them. These are real cheap and efficient ways to get some enrichment and things for your rodents to do while they're in here. I use a lot of paper towel and tissue paper rolls. These are pretty much free because they come along with, you know, everything you buy normally at the store. I just reuse that. Get a couple little rodent wheels. Some people say that these aren't the best for them, you know, just because of how the spines are. But these are feeder rats, but any kind of enrichment that you give them before they, you know, inevitably get eaten or frozen, I mean, you kind of want to, you know, give them something. Usually I would also have some hay in here, but I don't have any hay at the moment. I got to go to the store and pick some of that up. And let's go look at some rats. So up here, you see we got some rats with some rat babies. They have just your general house in here. And sometimes I'll take some of my tubes that you've seen on top of here. I cut these up and put them in there so they can have some extra hides and all. But this one just has a house in it because they ate up their chew blocks and other things else. So it's kind of hard to keep stuff for them, but they do chew a lot. But they're super cute animals. I mean, look at this little guy. He's pretty nice. Let's see if I can get one out so we can get them up close. Look at this little guy. He's a happy little rat, I would say. I enjoy them too because, I mean, not only are they feeder rats, but they're also pets to me. So, I mean, I can treat them however such. So I thoroughly enjoy petting my rats and coming out and hanging out with them. And then you can see some of the little baby rats here. Look at the little bugger. Oh, there is some chew blocks in here. So yeah, I always try to offer them some chew blocks because they do chew a lot and it helps to keep their teeth filed down. And over here, you got, you know, another basic little house setup. Everything else. I feed mine particularly dog food. I try to get some low-grade dog food with the smallest amount of protein because they only need around 18, I believe 21% protein in their dog food. And the less the better because, you know, they can get a protein overload. I would also recommend to get some Missouri. Missouri has probably the top of the line rodent food if you want to feed them that. I just haven't gotten around to order another bag, and this comes a little bit easier, so I switch them out between the two, and I don't specifically just give them all dog food all the time. But you can also give them snacks like lettuce, noodles, well, dry noodles, of course, other things like that. But overall, I mean, keeping mice and rats for your breeding and for your snake collection, like, it saved me thousands of dollars. I mean, I may have an initial setup fee of getting these racks and setting up the watering system and all that stuff like that. But if you haven't seen some of my older videos, I did a tub setup where you can do a rodent breeding in tubs. That worked out really, really good for a lot of years, but this became a whole lot easier because I can clean these tubs out way faster than I did those locking tubs. So, all right, so now let's talk about breeding processes. Mice and rats breed similarly, but there are some important differences. Mice do great in a 1 male to 3 to 4 female colonies, and females can become pregnant again immediately after they give birth. They have litters around 6 to 12 on average, and gestation can be around 19 to 21 days, and it'll take 3 to 4 weeks for them to wean off their mom. And I believe you should replace the males every 6 to 8 months for the best productivity. Avoid mixing females from different colonies, and they do get kind of territorial, so you kind of want to keep them all in the same little group for the most part. With rats, it's going to be a little bit different. Let me get you guys up here. You can see some of my little rat friends. They're kind of all hanging out doing their thing. With rats, you want to breed 1 male to 2 to 3 females. Rats are calmer, less territorial, and produce larger litters. Litters can be around 6 to 14 on average, and they have a gestation days around 21 to 23 days, and they can wean around 4 to 5 weeks. Females should be rested between litters occasionally, but you know, back-to-back litters can shorten lifespan, reduce litter size over time. But I mean, I rotate all mine out, so I don't really keep them for super duper long. I'll keep them for maybe like a year, and then I'll swap them out and freeze them and go from there. Now let's talk about freezing rodents. So you want to make sure you do it humanely And any overstock you have, I would recommend getting you a separate deep freezer, because you really don't want to keep these inside of your main freezer in case something was to happen. Me personally, I freeze all mine in different sizes and use freezer bags. This one's double sealed, and this one has a lot of pinkies in it. We have a lot of like hopper size rats here. We got baby mice, and this one looks like more frozen baby mice, baby rats. And down here we'll have a little bit of the bigger rats, of the smaller sizes, and I like to have a lot of various sizes for backup. I do sell some of these to some people whenever they need them, but you know, it's generally just for me and my consumption of my rodents and stuff for here. So I mean, this is what I recommend, guys. Like, and overall, the whole setup and everything, I mean, I got this deep freezer used because you know, you don't have to have nothing fancy. This is just for your rodents and stuff. So pretty good setup. I thoroughly enjoy having them here and keeping them here, and it saves me thousands and thousands of dollars, guys. So make sure you guys get you one set up, and if you do it, make sure you get a gravity fed watering system, because that'll cut down on a lot of things, because efficiency will be key in this whole process of getting this stuff put together for this whole thing. Because I mean, you got to come out and clean it every single week, so make sure you do it efficiently and quickly.